everybody, it's your girl Audrey, your income producing homemaker and your property manager with a personality, and I am back with another video. Y'all, welcome to the night shift. Welcome to the night shift. If you have not been here before, or you haven't caught the previous videos, please go back and do that. I had absolutely no idea that God was going to deal with me in this way during this season, but it's been good, right? So I don't know exactly how long it's going to last, but I am here for it all the way. You hear me? The night shift started out just with my kids waking up at obscene hours of the morning, frustrating me, and me really having to take a moment and say, okay, Lord, what are you doing in this season? What are you trying to tell me? And allowing him to do just that, and taking it from this aspect of anytime between the hours of 12 a.m. to 8 a.m., usually when I have to go to work, right? Taking it from that aspect to God shifting my mindset and my perspective of the night shift, not just being a physical time, an actual time during the day, but actually a season where he is preparing, where he is producing, where he is pruning, where he is molding and shaping me into the person he needs me to be for this next season. Right? How many times have we prayed and we asked God and we said, Lord, I want you to expand my capacity. I want to do this. I want to do that. We have all these goals. We have all these hopes and these dreams, things we want to accomplish and things we want to achieve, but we are not even the person that we need to be in order to handle those things. Right? We are not the person that we need to be in order to carry out the things that we have asked him for. It takes a certain type of person to hold space in a particular area and in a particular aspect of things. And we have to become that person in order for God to truly take us where he wants us to go. Why? Why can't he just give us what we want? Give us what we ask for? Why can't he just do that if we are unprepared? If we are unprepared for the places that we're trying to go, we will go there and die. Let that sink in. If we are unprepared for the places that we are trying to go, we will get there. We will go there. There is no place that God cannot take you to. There is no height that he cannot help you achieve. There is no achievement that he can't help you obtain. However, if you go there, if you get there, when you get there, if you're unprepared, you will die. And it may not be physically. It may be spiritually. It may be mentally. It may be emotionally. And why would he send you to your death when he sent his only son to die for you so you didn't have to? That's why it is so important. And he's beginning to mold and shape this season for me into something completely different than I had imagined it to be. And I am allowing him to do it. Once again, he's blown my mind. Once again, he's blown my mind. We are in the process now of talking about the conversations in our head. If you hadn't seen the previous videos, please go back and see them. Understanding why it's important to be a student of yourself, a student of you. Go to U University, sign up, enroll. Enroll in U University. Go ahead and do that, right? Recognizing what happens when what they're saying about you is true. What happens when you recognize that? Understanding where those what's going on with those conversations in your head. And now the Lord is just expanding that, and he's taking that a little bit further when it comes to the conversations in our head. And it's so important that we tackle them. It's so important that we tackle them. A lot of times we will think, oh, what they saying about me, everybody talking about me, everybody saying this, what the people saying, let me tell you something. Please hear me. Let me tell you something. There are more people waiting on you to get in line and get in position for what God has for you than there are people talking about you. Let that sink in. There are more people waiting on you than there are people talking bad about you. Please hear me. Get in position, get in line with where God is having you to go. It's important. Let's dig in. So I'm sitting up here thinking that today, I was just like, Lord, these kids are actually asleep. Right? What is going on? Like, what are you saying to me today, Lord? What is it that you're trying to process within me today? And I was just thinking earlier on during the day, and I had this thought earlier during the day, but God just brought it back to me. I was thinking earlier during the day, I was making my little one's oatmeal like we normally make it. And for some reason, I don't know how, because you only supposed to put it in the microwave for a minute, right? I don't know, for some reason, I must have hit the regular reheat. So it's like in there for 2 minutes and 30 seconds at least, minimum. And I'm noticing like I'm doing a lot of stuff, getting some dishes washed while it's in there, doing all this stuff. And I was like, man, the time seems really long for it this time, but I never checked it. I never checked the oatmeal. And I'm just continuing in my head, I'm just thinking, this seems overdue. This seems very long, right? And finally, when the microwave goes out off and it beeps and I open up the microwave, this oatmeal looks done, right? It is cooked. It is almost burnt, right? And I sit there and I chuckle a little bit and laugh to myself and I said, girl, how in the world did you about burn the oatmeal? The thing came with instructions. It came in proportion with packets. It tells you exactly how much you need, whether you want to use milk or whether you want to use water. Like, it gives you everything you need to set you up for success, and yet and still you almost burn the oatmeal. How the world you do that? And then I began to think about, and I don't always burn stuff, please. But back in my younger days, I have had some embarrassing moments when it's come to food, because initially I could not cook. Okay, that was another process the Lord had to deal with me on. But initially I could not cook. I'm telling you, I would sit there and burn water. And when I burnt this oatmeal, I thought about that, and I said, now that's too funny. Now don't you go back to reverting to your old ways now. But I thought about it, and the Lord brought that thing back to my memory with something just so simple as burnt oatmeal or whatever the case may be. He brought it back to my memory. And he said, anything can be burned when left unchecked. Anything can be burned. Anything can be burned when left unchecked. Anything can go too far when left unchecked. Why is that important for the conversations in our head? Right? It's important because, I'll give you some examples. Obesity is gluttony unchecked. Perversion is lust unchecked. Covetousness is greed unchecked. Anxiety is doubt unchecked. Self-hatred is negativity unchecked. And you guys might be wondering and might be asking, like, self-hatred, like, you done went a little too far. Child, sometimes I might think I look a little ugly, but I don't hate myself. You know, sometimes I may say a little something negative, but I don't hate myself. Maybe you're going too far. But listen to that again. Self-hatred is negativity unchecked. So when you are having these conversations in your head, when you have them on replay, when you have these moments of doubt, you're not worth it, you're having these moments in your head of negativity unchecked, that will turn into self-hatred. It will turn into self-hatred. And I would even go as far as, and I want you to follow me on this, and it is this serious. I would even go as far to say, because if you're thinking negativity in your head about God's creation, because you are God's creation, if you're thinking negativity in your head and it's not Christ-like, it is anti-Christ-like. And we have to be mindful, and we have to be diligent in addressing those things and taking it just that serious. Because if you really take inventory of your life, you will notice there are things, there are times, there are opportunities, there's so much missed because of what you had going on up here. And even though you may think it's too far, even though you may say it's too far, when you think about it, that self-hatred, that negativity, oh, it's reflected. It's reflected in how you show up. It's reflected in how you move. It's reflected in how you speak or lack thereof. And I do want to pause there, because sometimes we don't realize that intentional invisibility is just as bad as showing up incorrectly. Intentional invisibility is just as bad as showing up incorrectly. Who am I talking to? I'm talking to me. Because there was a season in my life, there was a portion in my life, and God is reminding me of this, because he's saying, you're showing some of the same character, you're showing some of those same characteristics, you're getting back into that familiar groove, we got to mix this up, we got to shake this up, we got to break this up. Because I became intentionally invisible. Did I go to work? Yes. Did I go to church? Yes. Right? Did I go to school at the time I was in college and things like that? Yes. I did those things. I did the regular life things. I went and checked my boxes. I did all of that, but I did just that. In comparison to who God had created me to be, how he created me to show up, I intentionally made myself invisible because of the risk of rejection, because of the risk of abandonment, because of the risk that somebody would see me differently than I saw myself. I was intentionally invisible. I gave it just enough, but didn't show up the way that God created me to be. And there's somebody out here that needs to know your existence is real. Your calling, that's real. Your purpose, it's real. The need of all mankind is real. And your inability to show up as you were created to is just as damaging to God's salvation story as you showing up incorrectly. Your inability to show up as God has created you is just as damaging. And I'll go back to what I said previously. Why is it just as damaging? Because there are more people waiting on you than there are against you. There are more people waiting on your gift. There are more people waiting on your voice. There are more people waiting on. Do you know that there are some people who walk into a room and can change the atmosphere? If you are one of those people and you are shrinking because of this conversation in your head, this adverse conversation in your head, if you're one of those people, the world needs you. The world is waiting on you. It doesn't mean that you're always a celebrity. It does not mean that you're always going to be pushed to the forefront. It doesn't mean that. It means, for me, baby, I'm the baddest behind the scene girls you can get. I am the baddest behind the scene babe you can get. You hear me? I can make things move. And when I failed to show up as God had created me, there were people who were supposed to be in the forefront that did not get the support that they needed. You hear me? There were people waiting on me that needed the administrative gifts and abilities. There were people waiting on me, and there's people waiting on you. There's people waiting on you. And you may be thinking to yourself, like, how is that damaging to God's salvation plan? Didn't Jesus paid it all? Jesus paid it all. Didn't he already pay? He did. He already paid it. He already won. But God uses us as his hands and his feet here on earth. Jesus was, is, and is to come. He's the beginning and the end and everything in between. Jesus gives us a look into how the story ends. But we are still the players. We are still the players on the field. We're his lighthouses as people lose their way and they go astray. They can't find him. They can't hear him. We are his lighthouses. We're his goalposts. I'm going to go ahead and end it right there for this morning. I want you all to chew on that. I want you all to take that back to Father. Please, please hear me. Everything we're doing here in the night shift is not for you all to come and listen to me. It's not for somebody to come and listen to me. It's for somebody to come and hear the prompting of the Holy Spirit. It's for somebody to come and have their spirit stirred once again and go back to Father. Run back to Father. Because if you just sit and listen to me, you're just here for my cliff notes. You're here for the cliff notes of my life. Why would you need the cliff notes of my life when you need a whole manual for yours? Go back to the source. Go back to the Father. Go back to God and say, God, what are you doing with this in my life? And he will answer you. He will answer you. And I tell you this. And before it was just kind of as things come, but God has already taken me to kind of the next phase of this, because we're going to literally sit and mull and work through this conversations in your head for as long as it takes. But I tell you what, the next part that he kind of asked and he prompted of me, he asked me, where does that come from? Where do the conversations, where does that negativity in your head, where does that come from? And it comes from a place where you were burned. You were burned. Somewhere in your experience of this thing called life, you were burned. And every time you were burned, you picked up a limiting belief about yourself and what you could do and what you were capable of. Every time you were burned, you picked up some negativity about yourself and you stored it away and you carried it with you. And when God revealed that to me about myself, he said, you need a fiery furnace experience. Y'all take what you need and get on about y'all business.